Hello my dear students, so welcome to biology class. So this is Ramesh TC from Government PU College Karwar. So today I am going to deal with chapter 4 of biology 1, that is animal kingdom. I think in the previous classes my colleagues, they have discussed with you about 3 chapters. One is living world, biological classification, and the kingdom plantae. So in this class I am going to deal with animal kingdom, its classification, and the general characters of each phyla of the kingdom Animalia or animal kingdom. Before going to start this topic, I am going to link the previous topics or previous chapters to this topic. As you know, there are about 1.5 million different varieties of the organisms are there on the earth. They are already known, identified, they are named scientifically. So that's why we call known organisms. Varieties of organisms, not an individual number, varieties of the organisms, varieties of the species. Based on the morphological characters, some anatomical features, the organisms which are classified into 5 kingdom according to Carolus Linnaeus. One is the kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista, kingdom Mycota, kingdom Plantae, and the kingdom Animalia or animal kingdom. There are different types of organisms around us, including plants and animals, from unicellular to multicellular organisms, including both plants and animals, and they are beneficial to mankind directly or indirectly. And on what basis these are classified? As I told you, based on morphological or anatomical features. Today I am going to discuss about animal kingdom, their classification, on what basis the kingdom Animalia, which is classified into different phyla. We know many organisms, many animals, many plants we know, but they are kept under a separate or particular group, particular phyla or particular class, particular family, particular order, genus. So these are all based on some criteria, some with some parameters. The kingdom Animalia includes about around 2/3 number of the total known organisms on the earth. 2/3 means I will tell you later about the number in a coming classes. On what basis the kingdom Animalia which is classified? There are different criteria are there. One is the arrangement of the cells, how the body is organized, how the cells are organized, cells are arranged. As you know, the cells are the structural and functional unit of the life of any organism. There are two different levels of the organisms: cellular level, again multicellular, and some organs are there, they are unicellular. But in this chapter kingdom Animalia, the unicellular animal organisms, they are kept under a separate group, that is under Protista. This kingdom, which includes only the multicellular organisms. Multicellular organisms, the body is formed by many cells. So, first basis for the classification of the animal kingdom is the arrangement of the cells. Either many cells, their arrangement, their compactness, their shape, everything will be included. Again, one more basis for classification, that is body symmetry. So, let us say what is meant by body symmetry. There is a plane of the organism, the central axis of the organism, the plane is a symmetry. So, based on symmetry, the animals are classified. Again, one more basis for classification, that is nature of the coelom. You know what is a coelom? Coelom is a body cavity. It lies between the body wall and the gut and is lined by the mesoderm or without mesoderm. All the organisms, all the higher organisms and all the triploblastic animals, they possess the different types of coelom like acoelom, pseudocoelom and true coelom. So, about that we will discuss in coming events. Again, one more basis for classification is the patterns of the organism, patterns of the organs in the body like the digestive system, circulatory system, reproductive system, and there are different types of systems are there. Based on the patterns of the digestive system, the kingdom Animalia which is classified, or animals of this group which are classified. About the classification, one more basis is observed, that is levels of organization. How the body is organized, how the body of the animal is organized. So, one thing you have to remember here, all the animals which comes under this kingdom, they are all multicellular. They are all multicellular. The body is formed by many cells. So, first level of organization of the body, that is cellular level of organization. The body is formed by many cells, and there is no tissue formation. Many cells, they perform the functions individually, perform the functions individually. For different functions, there are different cells, they are involved. Such type of organization can be seen in sponges. Sponges, they all comes under phylum Porifera. So, they are all aquatic animals. Okay. And one more level of organization, that is tissue level of organization. As you know, what is meant by tissue? Tissue is nothing but the group of cells perform the same function with same origin. And in some groups of lower organisms, like in coelentrates, there is only a tissue level of organization or tissue grade of organization. Again, it is a multicellular organism, but there is a formation of tissue to perform the particular function. Again, about one more level of organization, that is the organ level of organization. Different types of tissues, they group to form the particular organ for particular function. The group of cells in this organ perform the same function or similar function. For example, excretory system, the cells of this group, they perform only osmoregulation as well as excretory function. Again, for digestive system, digestive organs, they are involved in digestion of food materials, absorption and absorption of nutrients and elimination of unwanted or undigested materials. So, there is a organ level of organization is there and further higher level of organisms, that is starts from Platyhelminthes up to higher phyla including the chordates up to human beings. There are the organ level of organization. Again, in this group of animals, higher level of animals, there is an organ system. Different types of organs, they are situated in different regions of the body. They perform different functions with coordinating with each other to keep the organism in good condition. That is, in this organ system, they exhibits various patterns of complexities. As I told you earlier, the organs are many: digestive system, circulatory system, respiratory system, excretory system, again integumentary system, again respiratory system, reproductive system. So, they all various patterns of their own complexities. Just for an example, the digestive system. So, one is a digestive system. So, how this system is considered for classification of the organisms, classification of the animals. In animals, we can see two types of digestive system. One is incomplete digestive system and complete digestive system. Complete digestive system. What is incomplete? So, basically the digestive system is a long tubular structure with two ends, with two openings, one on the anterior as the mouth for intake of food materials and other end with one more opening, that is called as anus or cloaca, depends on the animal, we can say that is for elimination of the unwanted undigested food materials. For this concern, that is incomplete digestive system. In case of the Platyhelminthes, so one of the good example for this is a planaria. One of the Platyhelminth, planaria. In this animal, there is an incomplete digestive system. As we know, there is a tubular structure of the digestive system, but it has only one opening at the anterior end for intake of food materials as well as the elimination of the undigested materials. That is why it is said to be incomplete digestive system or complicated digestive system. For intake and elimination of the gastric contents will be there only through a single opening, what we call as the digestive opening. That is in case of the planaria. So, such type of digestive system is called as incomplete digestive system. And further higher level of organisms. So, next to Platyhelminthes, there is a phylum Aschelminthes. After Aschelminthes, up to chordates, all the animals with a well developed digestive system or complete digestive system, that is with the two openings or two ends. One is an anterior end, we call this as a mouth, okay, and the opposite end with another opening called as anus. So, mouth meant for intake of food materials, anus meant for the elimination of the unwanted or undigested materials as fecal matters. So, this is called as complete digestive system. So, this is one level of organization for classification of organisms, and one more system is there that is also considered to classify the animals, that is the circulatory system. You know what is circulatory system? That is for circulation of blood to supply nutrients, gases and elimination of the unwanted materials from the body through excretory system. They may be eliminated. We discuss later. So, about the circulatory system, there are two types of circulatory system can be seen in the animals, that is open type and closed type. Open type and closed type. So, what is open type? In both the cases, the circulatory system with the heart and the blood. But in case of the open type, there is a heart, there are no blood vessels. There is a heart, there is no blood vessels. The heart pumps the blood and that may reach the different parts of the body. So, within this blood, the cells and tissues of the body may be bathed in the blood. Such a type of the circulatory system is called as a open type of circulatory system. Heart and blood is there, no blood vessels. For example, in case of arthropods, like in insects, for example, good example, insects, these are familiar animals for you. Okay, here open type of circulatory system, there is a heart and there are no blood vessels in this group of animals. And closed type of circulatory system, in all the higher level of animals, there is a closed type of circulatory system, that is with the heart, blood vessels and the blood. Heart is a pumping organ which pumps the blood. The blood passes through the blood vessels and they may reach the particular tissues of the cells or the tissues. The blood vessels in higher animals, there are different types: arteries, veins, arterioles, venules, etc. for circulation of blood from heart to the body cells and body parts to the heart. So, blood is the fluid tissue, so that is for different functions. So, this is one more level of organization that is also considered for classification of the animals into two groups, as the animals with open type of open type of circulatory system and closed type of circulatory system. One more basis for classification, that is symmetry. As I told you, symmetry is nothing but any plane that passes through the center. Any plane that passes through the center, there is a symmetry. So, based on the symmetry, the animals are classified into three groups as radially symmetrical. So, before that, I mean asymmetrical, or asymmetry. They have no definite symmetry. If the cut passes through the center, you cannot get two equal parts. There are no definite plane of symmetry. So, such symmetry is called as a asymmetry, and the animals are called as asymmetrical animals. Asymmetrical animals. We cannot get two equal parts if cut passes through the center in these animals. Example, sponges. Sponges, there are no symmetry. And one more type of symmetry, that is radial symmetry. Radial symmetry. If cut passes through the center in any plane, we can get two equal parts. If cut passes through the center, for example, this is an animal, this is a central part of the body. If cut passes through the center in any plane, either in this plane or this plane or this plane or this plane, we can get two equal parts. Such type of symmetry is called as radial symmetry, and this type of symmetry can be seen in different groups of animals like the coelenterids. Coelenterids. So, this phylum is also called as Cnidaria. Okay. One more phylum is there, Ctenophora. Ctenophorans with radial symmetry. Again, adult forms of the echinoderms. Adult forms of echinoderms with radial symmetry. So, I am using particularly the adult forms of echinoderms because the larval forms of the echinoderms with another type of symmetry. So, another type of symmetry is called as bilateral symmetry. You know what is a bilateral symmetry? The term says bilateral, bi means two, lateral means sides. Bilateral symmetry. If cut passes through the center, so just I am going to show here in the picture the symmetry of the animals. So, first one, the example for asymmetry, second one is an example for radial symmetry, and third for bilateral symmetry. Just look here, bilateral symmetry. If cut passes through the center, we can get two equal parts, and very important here, the cut passes center in only one plane. Only one plane. Just in the picture I am showing that the insect body for bilateral symmetry. Even for human beings, just taking an example for human beings. Imagine is the head of the animal, man, okay, body, again upper limbs and lower limbs. To get the two equal parts, the cut passes through only in this plane only. So, that is called as bilateral symmetry. We can get two equal halves in bilateral symmetry. If you want to clarify, if you take this type of section, we cannot get two equal parts. If you cut here, the head is removed, head is on one side, body is on other side. If you cut here, half of the body on one side, half on other side. So, we cannot get two equal parts if cut passes through different planes. So, cut passes through the particular axis to get two equal parts, that is in bilateral symmetry. So, these are the patterns of symmetry, patterns of classification of organisms based on symmetry. So, one more basis for classification of the animals, that is the body wall, either diploblastic or triploblastic. Diploblastic or and triploblastic. So, what is meant by diploblastic and triploblastic organization in the body? So, these are nothing but the embryonic layers which are present in the during embryonic stages, what we call as ectoderm and endoderm and mesoderm. In diploblastic, the body wall with only two dermal layers. Two dermal layers. So, this is one layer and this is another layer. This is another layer. So, at the center there is a body cavity, Okay, don't bother about this. So, this is ectoderm and this is endoderm. Ectoderm and endoderm. See the picture. There are two diagrams here. So, one for diploblastic and another for triploblastic. So, in case of this, the ectoderm and endoderm, they get separated by the presence of a non-cellular mesoglia. Non-cellular mesoglia. Such type of diploblastic body wall which is present in what we call as coelentrates. Okay. Next, triploblastic. The term says triploblastic. Triplo means 3, blastic means dermal layers in the embryonic stages. There are 3 dermal layers. Three dermal layers. 1, okay, again 2 and another 3. Outer ectoderm, middle mesoderm and inner endoderm. Outer ectoderm, middle mesoderm and inner endoderm. So, in case of this triploblastic nature of a body wall, all the 3 layers, ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm, they are with the cells. Here in case of diploblastic, there is a mesoglia, okay, it is a non-cellular membrane. But here in case of this, all the 3 layers with the cells, all the 3 dermal layers are cellular layers. So, there should be triploblastic. Those animals with a diploblastic nature, they are called as diploblastic animals. Those animals with a triploblastic nature, they may be called as triploblastic animals. Coelentrates are the diploblastic animals. Next to coelentrates, all the group of animals from Platyhelminthes to Chordates, they are all triploblastic animals. They are all triploblastic animals. Next, we shall move to one more basis for classification, that is coelom. Coelom, as I told you earlier, coelom is a body cavity. It is between the body wall and the gut. Based on the body cavity, the animals are classified into 3 types. Coelomates, if the animals possess the true coelom. Pseudocoelomates, there is a body cavity, but there is no mesoderm or the mesodermal lining. And there are the animals, they do not possess the body cavity and they are called as acoelomates. Example for coelomates, those animals, they possess coelom, they are all called as coelomates. For example, this is a body wall, imagine this is a gut. In between the body wall and the gut, there is a space called as a coelom. If it is lined by the coelomic epithelium or mesoderm, such type of animals are called coelomates. From Annelida, phylum Annelida to the Chordates, they are all called as coelomates. They possess true coelom. True coelom. Again, one more is pseudocoelom. Pseudocoelom. Imagine this is a gut or alimentary canal and it's a body wall. Here also there is a body cavity. There is a body cavity, but here it is not lined with the mesoderm. It is not lined with the mesoderm. The organs are scattered. Organs are scattered in position. So, such type of body cavity is called as pseudocoelom. Pseudo means false, coelom is cavity or body cavity. Body cavity is there, but it is not a true coelom. This type of body cavity or pseudocoelom is there, and the animals comes under phylum Aschelminthes, like the roundworm, hookworm. Okay, they are all Aschelminths. And a coelom, the term says coelom, body cavity. Before there is one alphabet, there is A. A refers to absence. Absence of body cavity, absence of coelom. Those animals, they do not possess coelom, they are called as acoelomates. Example, the animals of the phylum Platyhelminthes. Platyhelminthes, like tapeworm or liver fluke, they all comes under this group. They have no definite coelom, they have no body cavity, so they are called as acoelomates. So next, one more basis for classification, as I told earlier, that is segmentation. Okay. So these are the three diagrams which shows acoelomates, eucoelomates and pseudocoelomates. Again, segmentation. You know what is segmentation? Segmentation is nothing but the division of the body. Segment, it is one division. So division of the body. Segmentation. Here in case of this, the body is divided into number of compartments, number of segments. There is a series of division of the body into number of segments, number of compartments, both externally and internally. And these segments, they are also called as a metameres or somites. And this will be series of division of the body, even at least some organs. In case of the earthworm, so you can see the division of the body, segmentation. In some lower animals, the body is internally and externally divided into number of segments. Good example for this is earthworm. Earthworm. Okay, you can see the earthworm with the metamerical segmentation. The body is metamerically segmented. You can see the markings on the body. This shows the metamerical segmentation of the body in the annelids. Okay, the series of the division of the body into number of segments called as segmentation, both internally and externally to the end of the body, that is metamerically segmentation or metamerical segmentation, and such type of animals are called as metamerically segmented animals. Example, earthworm and leech, etc. One more basis for classification, the presence or absence of notochord. You know what is a notochord? It is one of the mesodermal derivative. You know what is mesoderm? So earlier I told you about the embryonic layers when we discussed about diploblastic or triploblastic. In a triploblastic, there are three layers I told you already: ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm. So this notochord is derived from the mesoderm, and the mesoderm is derived into a rod-like structure which is formed on the dorsal side of the organism during the embryonic development in some of the animals. In all the vertebrates, in all the chordates, this rod-like structure which is located on the dorsal side, it is from mesoderm. Okay. Based on the presence or absence of notochord, the animals are classified into two as non-chordates and chordates. Non-chordates and chordates. Those animals, they possess notochord, they are all called as a chordates. Those animals, they do not possess notochord, which is called as a non-chordates. So, these are the basis for classification of the animals into different groups based on the body organization, that is cell organization, again symmetry, again what we call as the diploblastic or triploblastic nature, coelom, segmentation, and the presence or absence of notochord. So, next we shall move on to the outline classification of the kingdom Animalia. So, how these are classified into different phyla. Just for example, see here the kingdom Animalia. Kingdom Animalia or animal kingdom, basically which is classified into two groups based on the body organization. One group of organisms, they are with the cellular, they are with the grades, cellular, okay, both are, these are all with multicellular. The body remains a cellular grade, and one more group of animals are there, here they are a tissue grade. Body organization, cellular level, tissue level, okay. That is in case of the sponges or poriferans. And next to the sponges, all the phyla with tissue grade. So, basically here tissue grade, that is coelentrates, okay. Again from platyhelminths to remaining up to chordates. Again based on diploblastic and triploblastic, the animals are classified. Coelentrates with a diploblastic nature, again from platyhelminths to the chordates with the triploblastic nature, triploblastic, okay, diploblastic, triploblastic based on dermal layers, based on cellular or level, here diploblastic or triploblastic. Again these are classified triploblastic animals, triploblastic animals, which are classified into different groups. Here also you can consider one more character, the symmetry. We discussed earlier, the coelentrates are diploblastic animals, they show radial symmetry, and these are all bilateral symmetry except in echinoderms. The triploblastic animals, they are classified into three groups based on the body cavity, that is coelom. One is acoelomates, okay, pseudocoelomates, and true coelom. Acoelomates, platyhelminths, okay, again pseudocoelomates with ascalminths, and coelom from Annelida to chordates, they are with the coelom, definite coelom. So, these are the levels of organization and the division of the animals. So, here the coelomates further classified into two groups, okay, Annelida to chordates. From Annelida to Echinodermata, they kept under non-chordates. Non-chordates, and one more is a chordate. Okay, this includes what we call as Annelida, okay, again Arthropoda, Echinodermata, then one more phylum is there, that is a Hemichordate. Hemichordate. Again phylum Chordata, again it includes the different groups of animals like the Pisces, amphibians, reptiles, aves and mammals. So, these are the classification, outline classification of the animal kingdom into different phyla. What I mentioned here about the porifera or sponges is one phylum, again coelentrates is one more phylum, then Platyhelminthes, Aschelminthes, then Annelida, Arthropoda, Echinodermata and Hemichordata, they are all kept under non-chordates, they lack notochord. So, I think you understood about the classification of the kingdom Animalia. Classification of the kingdom Animalia. So, now we shall move on to the study of the general characters of the phyla. There are different phyla here. One is a porifera phylum. Okay, phylum porifera. Okay, again Coelenterata, then Platyhelminthes, Platyhelminthes, again that is Aschelminthes, Aschelminthes. So, one more phylum, that is Annelida, then Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata and Hemichordata under non-chordates. Then one more phylum is the Chordata. So, in addition to this, one more minor phylum is added here next to the Coelenterata, that is Ctenophora. So, next we shall move on to the study of the general characters of each phylum under kingdom Animalia. First we shall move on to the phylum Porifera. Phylum Porifera, it includes most of the sponges, most of the poriferans, they are marine forms, only few are freshwater. They are commonly known as sponges. They are commonly known as sponges. So, before going to know the general characters, for each and every phylum, we must know the meaning of the phylum. Then we can easily understand why the names are given to these animals. The term says porifera. Pori refers to pores, para refers to bear. The animals of this group, they bear the minute pores on the body wall, what we call as dermal ostia. They are called as a dermal ostia. Because of dermal ostia on the body wall, they become spongy. So, they are called sponges. Pore bearing animals, spongy in nature, poriferans or sponges. They are all aquatic, most of them are marine, few are freshwater, they are multicellular breed of animals. Multicellular animals with cellular level. Earlier I told you the body is at cellular level only. There are no tissues. There are no tissues. And these animals, they are sessile forms. They are always attached to the substratum. You know, substratum is nothing but a permanent object in the aquatic medium. The animals, they are attached to the substratum. Attaches to the substratum. Those animals, they are attached substratum. They are incapable to move. They are all called as sessile animals. Sessile animals. They cannot move. So then, how they can get the food materials? Without moving the aquatic medium, how they can get the food materials? Again, they possess one important system, that is water transport system. Water transport system or canal system. Canal system. Water transport system or canal system. What is or what are the components in the water transport system or canal system? As I told you earlier, I am going to show in this picture. There is a body of the sponge. There are two branches there in the sponge diagram. One is external features, another is a section. So, on the body wall, there are the pores. Already I told you, they are dermal ostia. These will leads into the body cavity, the body wall. The body wall encloses a cavity known as spongocele. Spongocele. That is spongocele. The dermal ostia leads to the spongocele through the transverse canals. Again, the spongocele opens to the exterior by means of the large opening at the apex of the body, that is osculum. That is osculum. Dermal ostia, transverse canals, spongocele and osculum together known as water transport system or canal system is meant for three different functions. One is for gathering food materials, then digestion of food materials and elimination of the undigested or unwanted materials. Canal system is helpful for food gathering, respiratory exchange and removal of waste materials. The body wall possesses again the skeleton. So, in case of the sponges, there is a skeleton. It acts as the supporting structure. The skeleton of the sponges is said to be the spongin fibers or spicules. Spongin fibers or spicules. Okay, spongin fibers or the spicules. They are calcareous or siliceous substances. They act as a mechanical support of the body in sponges. So, one more system of the body. So, all the animals, they need one system to intake of food materials and digestion of food materials. The body cavity or the spongocele, again it is lined by the specialized cells. We know this is a cellular level of organization in the body. The specialized cells are there. They are called as a collar cells or choanocytes. Collar cells or choanocytes. So, these meant for the digestion of food materials. Digestion of food materials. So, digestion in sponges always intracellular digestion. What is the intracellular digestion? So, in animals, two types of digestion can be seen. The digestion of food materials within the cell and the digestion of food materials outside the cells or outside the tissues. In case of the sponges, the digestion of food materials takes place within the cells or inside the cells, then it is said to be intracellular digestion. Intracellular digestion. And for reproduction, again they are hermaphrodites. They reproduce by sexual or asexual methods. Asexual method by binding and formation of gemmules, etc. in case of the sponges. And the examples for sponges, there are many examples can be given. One is a cycon, this are examples. Again oscon, then spongilla, euspongia, again Hyloneuma, again Euplectella. There are different examples can be given. So, all are aquatic forms. Cycon and oscon, they are like vase shaped. So, base is at a substratum and free of X. Spongilla is one of the freshwater form. Again Euspongia, it is called as bath sponge. Hyloneuma, it is commonly known as glass rope sponge. Glass rope sponge. Why it is called as glass rope sponge? The spicules are very long. They help for the attachment of the animal to the substratum, and these spicules, they are glassy in nature. They are like a rope. At the tip of the rope of spicules, there is a body of the animal. That's why it should be glass rope sponge. And one more is a Euplectella, that is Venus flower basket. Venus flower basket. Venus flower basket. The skeleton of this animal appears like a Venus flower basket with a meshwork of spicules. So, these are the general characters and examples for the phylum Porifera.